What's up, you guys? Nick here, Bravo 6 Gardener YouTube channel. We're doing a quick video on how to reuse last year's potting soil and pots. You definitely don't have to throw them away, and it's super quick and easy to revitalize them and add nutrients back into it so they're good to go for this year. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I do lots of home gardening and small scale farming videos, so you can check those out. And all you're gonna need for this is a bucket and an optional scooper. If you don't have a scooper, just use your hands. So as far as ingredients goes for how to do this, pretty basic. You just need compost, but I'm gonna use a granular organic fertilizer in addition to the compost. And two keys there for your fertilizer. One being organic. That means you can basically throw in as much as you want to without burning the plants. And granular, meaning it's slow release as opposed to a liquid. So slow release means you basically just put it in one time and you don't have to worry about it again for the year, so just one easy application. And the reason I'm adding fertilizer and would definitely recommend it is plants in containers are constricted. You know, when plants are in the ground, they have access to all the nutrients, all the room. They can spread out, go find nutrients as needed. Plants in containers, they're kind of trapped and they don't have room to spread out. They don't have room to search for additional nutrients. So you really want to make sure that they have access to a good amount of food in that container, and that's why the granular organic fertilizer is a really good option. Slow release, keeps feeding them over time, loads them up with plenty of nutrition. And I know you guys are gonna ask, so the compost is a leaf compost. I buy it in bulk from my local landscape supply center. The fertilizer is called Replenish 343. Again, it's a granular organic fertilizer. It's like $12 a bag, so it's super inexpensive and organic. And the only reason I'm using the scooper is so that when I scoop the fertilizer, I'm not spilling it all over the ground, because if you're using it with your hands, it's gonna fall between your fingers. So this, you can just easily pour over top without spilling any. And the reason we're using compost is it is the most effective way to add mass back to your containers, and it's also natural plant food. And if you bought a good potting soil mix in the first place, it's gonna have perlite in it or something similar. Perlite's just those little white, they're volcanic rocks. Those help out with drainage. You won't have to add any more of those in there. There will be plenty enough left over from the first round of it that you'll just be able to mix the compost in and resituate the perlite into the container. So basically all you're doing here is you're taking the compost, taking the fertilizer, pouring it over top of your containers, and you are mixing it back up. And you want to try to go as deep down as possible, especially with the fertilizer, so that you have fertilizer at every point in the container, so that the entire plant will have access to nutrients at every level. And you want to go ahead and fill it up as high as possible in the container. When you do your first water, you'll probably lose a ½ inch to an inch, so you want to make sure it's pretty much full all the way to the top. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Compost, fertilizer, mix it back in, don't stress over it. And if you're starting from scratch with new containers, you can actually make your own DIY potting soil and save a ton of money doing it, as opposed to store-bought potting mix. I made a video on it. I'll put it up. It'll be in either one of these corners so that you can click on it and check it out if you need somewhere to start. And that video, believe it or not, was actually filmed during an earthquake. Again, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. I do home gardening, tutorials, and how-tos. Same with small scale farming, so make sure you follow along for those. Thanks, guys. We're doing a quick video on how to reuse last year's potting soil and pots. Hibbity jibbity. Bravo 6.